Well, the semis are finally here. Seems like August was just yesterday, and now we're already talking about the state semifinals. So you know what I've got to do. I haven't done it in a while because I just moved into a new apartment. I've been here for only a couple of weeks. Been so busy covering football, I really haven't got my studio set up just yet. But you know I've got to cover the semifinals, and you know I've got to make my picks. So let's get started. The Texas State semifinals, let's go. Let's mix it up a little bit, shall we? Let's go with 4A Division I, my picks. Canyon West Plains versus Salina. Give me Salina in this game. Now, this West Plains team beat a good Stephenville team. I mean, no disrespect for them, but this Salina offensive and defensive line, I think, will be the story of this game. Still, let's continue in 4A Division I. This Kilgore team versus Lavernia. While Lavernia may be the best story in Texas high school football this season, I've got Kilgore winning this game to set up an awesome match in the state championship. Salina versus Kilgore, Texas high school football at its finest. We'll continue with 4A. 4A Division II, let's take the upper side of the bracket. Carthage versus Brock. Man, let me tell you, Brock had a defensive slugfest against Graham High School. Remember, Graham beat them in the regular season, but Brock won in 3 overtimes, 12-10. They do put up a game versus Carthage, but I just don't think no one can stop this Carthage team this year. And we look on the other side of the bracket, we have La Vega versus Wimberley. While I'm very high on La Vega this year and the season they've had, I think Wimberley, they were made for this. They're hot at the right time. I got Wimberley versus Carthage going to the state championship to face each other in a rematch, just like we saw in 2022. Let's go with some 2A football, man. We've got some great teams in 2A and some great games this week. 2A has not disappointed in the playoffs at all. Let's look at 2A and see what we've got here. So we've got a Gruver versus Munster team. Man, this Munster team, boy, are they hot at the right time. They've been in this position before, but Gruver is undefeated this year. But I got Munster on an upset, if you want to call it that. Now, on the other side of the bracket, we've got Bremen versus Shiner. I'm very high on Bremen this year, but Shiner was made for this moment. Give me Shiner versus Munster in the state championship game. Let's continue with 2A Division I, Stanford versus Hamilton. This is an undefeated matchup, a game that I do not think will disappoint, but I'm very big on Stanford this year. I think they get the win versus Hamilton. Joaquin versus Ganado. Joaquin has had a great season this year, and they've been another great story this year in the playoffs, making the semifinals this year. However, Ganado has been the team all year. They've been picked by several media outlets to win it. I still hold on for this to be true. Give me Ganado in this one. They'll face Stanford in the state championship, and man, that will be a fireworks game right there. Let's talk some 5A football, shall we? So 5A is such a fun division this year all around. There's been so many good games in 5A, and even leading up to the semifinals, they still do not disappoint. We've got in 5A Division I, we've got on the top side of the bracket, we've got Denton Ryan versus Highland Park. Man, two good teams. I'm really stumbling on this game. I really don't know who will win, but if I had to guess, I'm going to go with Denton Ryan. I think they're playing with a lot of heart right now. Yes, they've had some off-season things that have happened. I think they carry this into this game as well, along with the momentum they had against Toledo, and they get the win versus Highland Park. Let's stay in 5A Division I. We've got an Angleton versus Smithson Valley team on the other side of the bracket that will face the Highland Park versus Denton Ryan winner. I've got Angleton in this matchup because I just think Angleton is great on all sides of the ball. Smithson Valley's defense, I'm a little concerned there. They could prove me wrong, but I think Angleton gets it done because the battle of the trenches, no matter what level of football you're at, matters, especially this time of the year. That'll give us an Angleton-Denton Ryan matchup in the state championship game, 5A Division 1. 5A Division 2, probably one of the craziest brackets in the state. Region 2 had all kind of teams that we thought could be a state championship match, but we got a state championship match, but it was in more like round 4 of the playoffs. But South Oak Cliff versus Argyle on the top side of the bracket. Give me South Oak Cliff. Now, I do believe Argyle will hang in there with them a little bit. Argyle's got a great offensive line. They've got a great team and experienced quarterback, but I think South Oak Cliff will be too much in the end. Give me South Oak Cliff going back to the state championship. On the other side of the bracket, we've got a phenomenal Richmond Randall team versus a super red-hot Bernie team. And I've been back and forth on this one as well. I'll be there Friday night to watch these two great teams play. Now, Bernie's got a great offensive line, but I do have a few things about their defense that I just don't think they can handle the firepower that Richmond Randall has to offer. I'm going with the Randall versus South Oak Cliff in the 5A Division 2 state championship. Let's talk some 3A football, shall we? Give me Malakoff versus Paradise. What a great matchup this is, but I think Malakoff wins big right here, which will set up on the other side of the bracket. We have a Columbus versus Edna matchup. I think Columbus with Grayson Rigdon and the quarterback, the TCU commit, I think these two advance. Columbus versus Malakoff in 3A Division 1, a fireworks state championship game. In 3A Division 2, we have a great team in Wall versus Gunner, a very experienced team. They've been to the state championship several times and have won it. They're defending their state championship this year, but they have to get past a Wall team first. I'm going to go with the defending state champions here, Gunner. I think they get it done versus Wall. They win pretty convincingly. We also have a great matchup in Woodville versus Tidehaven in 3A Division 2. I've got Tidehaven. I think they're hot at the right time, while Woodville has been an awesome story in Texas high school sports. I think Tidehaven gets it done to set up a rematch with Gunner in the state championship game. So that brings us to one last one, and it is the 6A. So in 6A Division 1, so in 6A Division 2, we've got Longview versus Southlake. Longview had the upset of the year this year, beating a good DeSoto team pretty bad. However, Southlake comes in, a very disciplined Southlake team, a very well coached Southlake team. However, Southlake has had a little bit of problems on defense in the playoffs. That concerns me a little bit about them. Longview has the athletes, they have the talent, they have the coach, they have the momentum. Give me the Lobos advancing to the 6A Division 2 state championship. On the other side of this bracket, we have Vandergrift versus Summer Creek. Summer Creek went to the state championship last year, and Vandergrift went to the state championship before that. They both failed to DeSoto. Well, now neither of these teams will have to play DeSoto this year, but right now they're playing each other. So give me Summer Creek in this matchup. I think they're still looking at that loss they had in the state championship last year. They're using that to fuel their momentum. Give me Summer Creek versus Longview in the Division 2 6A state championship. All right, in 6A Division 1, we have Westlake versus North Shore. While I watched Westlake play last week versus a great Lake Travis team, their only loss in the regular season was to Westlake, and Westlake only beat them by a touchdown. Westlake's really good. They're great defensively. However, I think North Shore is too much for Westlake. North Shore gets the win, and they advance. Now, last but not least, the most anticipated game of the year, Duncanville versus North Crowley. This Duncanville team has been so much fun to watch this year. Reginald Samples is doing his thing there. They've got an Alabama commit at quarterback. They've got a Texas commit at wide receiver. But this Duncanville team is facing a phenomenal North Crowley team. I saw how many players they had committed, and it's unbelievable the talent that they have on this North Crowley team. They beat a great Allen team last week, blew them out. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. They can pretty much do it all. My pick for this game, I'm going with Duncanville to win. I just don't think you can go against an Alabama commit and a Texas commit at wide receiver, and they're just great at both ends of the ball. They can run, they can pass, they can do it all, they can defend. Special teams is great. This Reginald Samples Duncanville team may be the best there is in Texas, and I think they can go up against anybody in the nation. They're that good. I've got Duncanville versus North Shore in the 6A Division I State Championship. Yep, they will play each other again, whether you like it or not. So that's my picks. Come back, see how I did. Let me know if I picked against your team. Let me have it. If I'm wrong a lot, let me have it. If I'm not wrong a lot, still, let me have it. Let me know what you think. I'm covering lots of games this weekend. Hope to see you on the sideline. And if not, hopefully we'll see you in the state. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what y'all think. We'll see y'all in the next video.